Welcome, Rock Stars, and without further ado, I made a promise that I'm going to start doing My Little Pony analysis videos. I wish I could do a raw reaction, but I've seen these episodes too many times. But I will go into two things. I'll go into how I initially reacted when I first saw this, and how I think about it now. So it'll be like a blast from the past, and then my thoughts going on now. I will preface this is the first one, saying that when I initially watched this, I was tentative to do this. I was not sure if I really wanted to see this or not, to be honest. I will go into a little bit of history first. Okay, when I was younger, I was a big, huge Transformers fan. So I kind of got hooked on the Hasbro initially early on. Then I started watching. Actually, I started reading the comic books first, the Transformer comic books. Then I started watching the Saturday morning cartoon. Now, for those that don't know, and if you're a little bit younger, you won't know this because you weren't around during this time when they had this. There was a golden age of TV that I wish all of you could have experienced this. And those that are in my age group will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's called Saturday morning cartoons. Back in the day, they would show cartoons of various types in the early morning. It'd be like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Voltron, the Smurfs, to name a few. The fact that I could just rattle that off the top of my head shows you how it had an impact on me. But I know it's not just me. It had an impact on anyone that watched it. Now, I won't go into the history of what happened in Saturday morning cartoons, but it's a very weird, turbulent time. Because obviously, as anyone knows, what people like and what studios decide to make decisions on are always two different things. I'll give you a good example when they canceled the original Star Trek series. I hope they learned their lesson, but I know they didn't. And if any of the executives are watching this, learn your lesson. If there's a show that is popular, that's good, just don't drop it because of some other nefarious reason or other like that, because you'll make more money. Think of it that way. Gunsmoke may have been a good series, but it wasn't enough to cancel Star Trek. Anyways, that aside. So I had a following with all these different companies, and Hasbro, obviously, you know, it makes toys. Transformers is cool. So flash forward to now, or to recent. I got into anime, manga. Currently I'm watching My Hero Academia. Worth watching. I highly advise that. I may do a reaction video. I don't know. It's still out there, so I've already watched it twice. If anybody likes watching anime, watch the series. It has a lot of surprises, even if you're a seasoned anime veteran. It's a good series. I haven't read the manga, so I'm only watching the anime. So I'm only on that part of it, but it's worth watching. Anyways, that's how I got it. That's kind of like the backstory history. Now I started going to conventions. I'll have a whole separate video on that. I'm not going to go into that. So I've always known that My Little Pony existed, and I will admit, when I went to conventions, and this is going to be hard for me to say this, but I wasn't a fan. I didn't really know it, and I will fully admit, not knowing a thing, I didn't really look down upon it, but I kind of just, I never really associated with people that were interested in the show, and it's because of not any factual thing. It was more because it was a whole, oh, so many people don't like it, why is it? So I didn't join the bandwagon because I'm very neutral when it comes to things, but I just kind of, if I'm not involved in it, I'm going to isolate myself from it because I don't want to get involved in it because I don't know it, and there's too much going on with it so I had that. So then I was given the option to try it. It was on Netflix, and the infamous, oh, just watch it a couple episodes, see if you like it. I think you'll like it, kind of thing. And I saw that was Hasbro. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Let me just watch it. Now, at the time, I think it was already in season 4. I believe there's between season 4 and 5 when it was actually being made. So it's been out for a little while. And needless to say, after watching episode 1, I didn't look back. I just kept going all the way. Just kept on watching. And I'm all caught up, movie included. Yeah. So to all the bronies and Pegasisters out there, I apologized if I know I didn't say anything rude or obnoxious or anything like that. But I guess I can't really apologize for how I feel because feeling is internal. But I just feel bad of how I felt initially on that. So that being said, I'm going to watch this. The reason why I'm actually watching this is because I did a poll on the Equestria Amino saying if I should do this or just kind of I had a list of different things to do, and this and PMVs were unanimously voted on. So, and I made a promise, and it's not like I don't want to do it. It's just that promise is spurring me to actually get going on this instead of just delaying this. So, without further ado, season 1, episode 1. And I know it's going to be a long journey to get up to date, but now we're on that mid-season 8 hiatus, so hopefully I can catch up a little bit. Without further ado, let's watch.
Once upon a time, in the magical land of Equestria, there were 2 regal sisters who ruled together and created harmony for all the land. To do this, the eldest used her unicorn powers to raise the sun at dawn. The younger brought out the moon to begin the night. Thus, the 2 sisters maintained balance for their kingdom and their subjects, all the different types of pony. Once upon a time, in the magical land of Equestria, there were 2 regal sisters who ruled together and created harmony.
I like the art style on this. I thought it was pretty cool.
The eldest used her unicorn powers to raise the sun at dawn. The younger brought out the moon to begin the night. Thus, the 2 sisters maintained balance for their kingdom and their subjects, all the different types of ponies. But as time went on, the younger sister became resentful. The ponies relished and played in the day her elder sister brought forth, but shunned and slept through her beautiful night. One fateful day, the younger unicorn refused to lower the moon to make way for the dawn.
It kind of reminds me of those old fantasy stories, the older illustrated fantasy stories.
She vowed that she would shroud the land in eternal night. Reluctantly, the elder sister harnessed the most.
I remember when I first watched this, I remember thinking like, "Is this how the whole show's going to look?"
Using the magic of the elements of harmony.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I came into it blind. I mean, I saw snippets, but I thought snippets with like the introductory was just more like drawings of it. So I came into this completely unaware of anything, including story.
Elements of harmony.
Ah, Twilight.
I know I've heard of those before. But where?
So I thought, okay, so it's more of a modern take on the show, because I've seen it. I've seen the original Generations, and it's like, well, okay. I was thinking it's more just flowers and rainbows and cupcakes, and by that I meant everything was just super sweet, everything was innocent, everything was cute. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be a little bit different.
Does that pony do anything except study?
I think she's more interested in books than friends.
I could relate.
I've heard of the elements of harmony.
So Lyra actually shows up in the first episode. Caught that.
Spike!
First Spike abuse.
Spike? There you are. Quick, find me that old copy of Predictions and Prophecies. What's that for?
Well, it was a gift from Moondancer, but...
Oh, Spike.
Teddy bear?
No, we don't have time for that sort of thing.
But we're on a break!
No, 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 no! Ugh.
Yeah, okay. This when I saw it, I was like, okay, so they're gonna have magic involved in this. I mean, I know My Little Pony magic, but still, it's just an interesting take on how it looks.
Elements. E. Aha! Elements of harmony. C.
Magic can come in where you don't have hands
Mare in the moon? But that's just an old pony's
or
tale.
claws.
Mare. Aha! The Mare and the Moon, myth from olden pony times. A powerful pony who wanted to rule
Now,
Equestria.
these characters, I know it's just like lightning bolts and such, but I wonder if there's an actual Lorne Faust alphabet that's was created for the show. Like, for instance, like this Klingon for Star Trek, etc. I wonder if there's an actual language. It may not be on the show, but
my dearest teacher, my continuing studies of pony magic have led me to discover
Spike.
that we are on the precipice of disaster.
Hold on. Press it. Press it.
Threshold. Brink?
come on.
That something really bad is about to happen.
And you can't understand Brink. Spike, come on.
Mare in the Moon is in fact Nightmare Moon, and she's about to return to Equestria and bring with her eternal night. Something must be done to make sure this terrible prophecy does not come true. I await your quick response. Your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle.
Twilight Sparkle. Got it.
Great. Send it.
Now?
Of course.
I don't know, Twilight. Princess Celestia's a little busy getting ready for the Summer Sun celebration. And it's like the day
Summer
after
Sun
tomorrow.
celebration.
That's just it, Spike. The day after tomorrow is the 1000th year of the Summer Sun celebration. It's imperative that the princess is told right away.
Impera?
Important!
Twilight's face.
Okay.
Now coming into the series, I started paying attention to like
It's only
about the mythology and
Wouldn't hold your breath.
I could already tell at this point
In all the years she's been
that
my mentor, she's never
here,
once
just
doubted
pause it.
me.
I could tell at this point that this show was really bringing more in-depth, fantastical kind of scenery, and that it's not just horses playing in a field with rainbows and singing along. There's an actual an actual storyline, an actual connection with mythology and history. And I mean, yeah, it's pony history, but still, I like how it was more in-depth, more. There's more meat and potatoes to the story than just dancing around. There's an actual storyline. That's what kind of hooked me right away, because I could tell it's like the whole 1,000 years, Mare to Moon kind of thing. Like, okay, this is interesting. There's a lot of mythology that we have in modern day, so I can relate to that. I thought it was hilarious, this method of communication through fire and
My
belching.
dearest, most faithful student, Twilight. You know that I value your diligence.
That face
and I
right there.
trust you completely.
Dang,
But you
there's
simply
backwards.
must stop reading
You see
those
it right there.
dusty old books. My dear
Basically,
Twilight,
Celestia says, "Why so serious?"
Young Pony's life and studying. So I'm sending you to
My
supervise
card tail is like
preparations
flapping
for Summer Sun
in the wind.
celebration in this year's location, Ponyville. And I have an even more essential task for you to complete.
Twilight's not amused.
Make some friends.
Aww.
Look on the bright side, Twilight. The princess arranged for you to stay in a library. Doesn't that make you happy?
Yes, it does. You know why? Because I'm right. I'll check on the preparations as fast as I can, then get to the library to find some proof of Nightmare Moon's return.
Then when will you make friends like the princess said?
She
Yeah,
said to
Twilight.
check on preparations. I am her student, and I'll do my royal duty. But the fate of Equestria does
Big
not
Mac.
rest on me making friends.
have interesting things to talk about. Come on, Twilight, just
First
try.
friend of the day.
Hello?
That still gets me every time.
Well, that was interesting, all right.
I mean, can you imagine the very first person to say hi to, and they scream and run away in terror? I mean, how would you feel? I know I would feel pretty bad.
Banquet preparations. Sweet apple.
And I tell you, I have a bigger appreciation for apples ever since watching this. Yeehaw, Applejack.
Let's get
That
this over
pose.
with. Good afternoon. My name is Twilight Sparkle. Well, how'd it do, Miss Twilight?
How'd you do?
Pleasure making
How'd you
new
do?
friends. I'm Applejack. We here at Sweet Apple Acres sure do like making new friends. Friends? Actually, So, what can I do you for?
Spike.
Well, I am in fact here to supervise preparations for the Summer Sun celebration. And you're in charge of the food? We sure as sugar are. Would you care to sample some? Well, as long as it doesn't take too long.
Soup song.
Every pony.
Kind of like how they reference like social things, like saying soup's on when they don't necessarily mean soup. It just means like time to eat. Little minor culturalisms that are involved in this. That looks so good. That reminds me, I need to eat something. That's right, I haven't eaten anything today. What am I doing? Okay. After this episode, in between these two episodes, I'm going to get something to eat.
Okay, well, I can see the food situation is handled.
In fact,
so
I'm going to
we'll be
pause
on
it
our way.
right here.
Sorry, but we have an awful lot to do. Fine.
Alright, I'll pause in a few minutes. Just because I need to get some food ready. It reminded me.
Ugh, I ate too much pie.
Fetishes everywhere.
Supposed to be a Pegasus pony named Rainbow Dash.
Poor
in the
Twilight.
clouds.
Well, she's not doing a very good job, is she?
That face.
Excuse me? Let me help you. Oops, I guess I overdid it. How about this? My very own patented Rain Blow Dry. No, don't thank me.
Rain blow dry.
Quite welcome.
Priceless.
Let me guess. You're Rainbow Dash. The one and only. Why? You heard of me? I heard you're supposed to be keeping the sky clear. I'm Twilight Sparkle, and the princess sent me to check on the weather. Yeah, that'll be a snap. I'll do it in a jiffy, just as soon as I'm done practicing.
She does like her chillaxing.
The Wonderbolts! They're gonna perform at the celebration tomorrow, and I'm gonna show them my stuff. The Wonderbolts? Yup. The most talented flyers in all of Equestria? That's them. Please. They'd never accept a Pegasus who can't even keep the sky clear for one measly day.
Nice little psychological tactic there, Twilight.
10 seconds flat. Prove it.
Of course, you have to have that guitar riff in there to kind of reflect Rainbow Dash's personality.
10 seconds flat. I'd never leave Ponyville hanging. You should see the look on your face. You're a laugh, Twilight Sparkle. I can't wait to hang out some more.
Insta friends.
She's amazing. Wait, it's kind of pretty when she.
Alright, I'm going to pause because I'm going to get some food ready, but I'll be right back. Catch you later. Okay, back to it.
Decorations. You
Yes, the decor is coming along nicely. This ought to be quick. I'll be at the library in no time. Beautiful indeed.
Not the decor.
No. Oh, goodness, no.
How are my spines? Are they straight?
Good afternoon. Just a moment, please. I'm in the zone.
Poor
as it
Spike.
were. Oh, yes. Sparkle always does the trick, does it not? Why, Rarity, you are a talent. Now, how can I help you? Oh, my stars, darling. Whatever happened to your coiffure?
Coiffure.
Oh, you mean my mane? Well, it's a long story. I'm just here to check on the decorations and then I'll be out of your hair. Out of my hair? What about your hair? Wait, where are we going? Help!
I always wonder, like, what
Too
Spike
green,
saw
too
in Rarity.
yellow, too poofy, not
Poofy.
poofy enough, too frilly, too shiny. Now go on, my dear. You were telling me where you're from. I've been sent from Canterlot
That looks
to...
painful.
Huh? Canterlot? Oh, I am so envious. The glamour, the sophistication.
It must be like a cultural thing where,
I've always dreamed of living there. I can't
where
wait to
wearing
hear
clothes
all
is
about
more
it.
attractive
We're
than
gonna
not.
be
Like,
the best of
just being
friends, you
there
and
is
I.
normal.
Emerald.
And the more
What
clothes you
was
have
I
on, the more
thinking? Let me get you
affluent
some
or
rubies.
attractive you look.
Quick, before she
I
decides
guess
to
it would
dye
be
my
like a
coat
sign
any
of
color.
wealth if you actually have clothes versus not, like, you know,
Wasn't she wonderful?
Focus,
kind of like the
Casanova.
Ferengi mentality.
What's next on the list?
Music. It's the last one.
What was it? That was, hold on. Twilight's expression right there. That was odd.
What's next on the list?
Music. It's the last one.
Right there. Okay. Look at that expression. Look at her mouth. It's just like off center there. Okay. I don't know. I just thought it caught as me as odd.
Oh my. Stop please, everyone.
Welcome, Fluttershy.
Excuse me, sir. I mean, no offense, but your rhythm is just a teeny tiny bit off. Now, follow me, please.
I can see why a lot of fans figure it's like a fan favorite.
Hello! Oh my,
Well, just think
I'm
about
so
it.
sorry.
A lot of people who
I
watch the
didn't mean to
show are
frighten your
probably
birds. I'm just here to
those
check
that
up on
are
the music, and it's sounding beautiful.
possibly shy, awkward, and they can relate to her a lot. What is
I'm
that
Twilight
expression?
Sparkle. What's your name? I'm Fluttershy. I'm sorry, what was that? My name is Fluttershy.
No.
Didn't quite catch that.
No. Painfully shy.
It looks like your birds are back. So I guess everything's in
That's
order.
one thing I noticed about Twilight.
Keep up
She's
the
not
good work.
necessarily shy.
Okay. Well, that was easy. A baby dragon!
Shy suddenly goes away.
I've never seen a baby dragon before. He's so
Well, I guess it's like some people that
Well,
they do better with
Oh
animals
my, he
or
talks.
insects
I didn't
or
know dragons could talk.
robots
It's just
or,
so
you know,
incredibly
other
wonderful.
than
I
people.
just don't even know what to say.
In this circumstance, it's a little bit
In that
different
case,
because
we better be going.
the
Oh, wait,
quote-unquote
wait.
animals talk.
What's his name?
I'm Spike.
But
Spike.
I can see why a lot of people in general
talking
prefer
dragon.
animals.
And what do dragons
they
talk
won't.
about?
Well, what do you want to know?
Emotionally hurt you.
Absolutely everything.
I started out
Exasperation.
as purple and green egg. And that's the story of my whole entire
Yeah.
life. Well, up until today. Do you want to hear
Twilight's-
about today?
Oh, yes, please.
Twilight's expression is priceless.
I am so sorry. How did we get here so fast? This is where I'm staying while I'm holding out,
Beehive.
and my
You know, I
poor
was
baby
always
dragon
wondering about
needs
that.
his sleep.
Twilight's library has a beehive. They didn't really focus on that.
He's so sleepy he
but-
can't even keep his widow balance.
Like, does she have like her own supply of
Poor
honey?
thing. You simply must get him to bed.
And there's a candle on the door.
Yes, yes. We'll get right on that. Well, good night.
Just all these little things I'm noticing now that I've been watching
Sorry,
after a
Spike.
while.
But I have to convince the princess that Nightmare Moon is coming and we're running out of time. I just need to be alone so I can study without a bunch of crazy ponies trying to make friends all the time.
Crazy
Now,
ponies.
where's the light?
Lyra and Bon Bon.
Surprise! Hi, I'm Pinkie Pie and I threw this party just for you. Were you surprised? Were you? Very surprised.
Now, is that Derpy there with normal eyes?
Not silly. What kind of welcome party
Hold on,
is this?
hold on,
We're quiet.
hold on.
I mean,
I just realized that. Right here. In the bottom right there, see? Derpy with normal eyes.
duh, boring. You see, I saw you when you first got here, remember? You were all hello and I was all, remember? You see, I never saw you before and if I never saw
Again.
you before, that meant you're new. Because I know every pony, and I mean every pony in Ponyville. And if you're
Poor
new,
Twilight.
it meant you hadn't met anyone yet. And if you haven't met anyone yet, you must not have any friends. And if you don't have any friends, then you
Now,
must be lonely. And that made me so sad.
why did she pour that on the
And
cup in the
that's why
first
I'm like,
place?
I just threw a great big ginormous super
Did you think it was just like a
spectacular welcome party to
juice?
invite everyone
Wasn't
in
paying attention?
Ponyville. See? And now you have lots and lots of friends. Are you all right, Sugar Cube?
That's me when I eat hot
She's so
wings that are too
happy
hot.
she's crying.
Hot sauce.
Yeah, it's good.
I wonder if that is actually good. I never actually tried it.
Hey, Twilight! Pinkie Pie's starting in the tail of the pony. Wanna play?
No!
The epitome
All the
of
ponies
lampshade
on our
reference
parade.
party.
Do you know what time it is?
It's the eve of the summer sun celebration. Every pony has to stay up or they'll miss the Princess Raise the Sun. You really should lighten up, Twilight. It's a party.
Here I thought
Oh,
it was
that
time to learn
reaction.
more about the
Beep,
elements
beep,
of
beep,
harmony.
beep, beep.
But, silly me, all this ridiculous friend making has kept me from it.
Friend making.
Legend has it that on the longest day of the 1000th year, the stars will aid in her escape, and she will bring about everlasting night. I hope the princess was right. I hope it really is just an old ponytail.
I like that shot with the moon in her
It's time
eyes.
to watch the sunrise.
Isn't this exciting? Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I've never been so excited. Well, except for
Pinkie.
the time that I saw you walking into town and I went, but I mean, really, who can top that?
Good job training.
Fillies and gentlecoats. As
Fillies
mayor of
and
Ponyville,
gentlecoats.
it is my great pleasure to announce the beginning of the summer sun celebration. In
I guess
just a
she's
few
supposed to be like the
moments,
epitome
our
of like
town will
the
witness
British
the magic
nanny
of the
kind of.
sunrise and celebrate
persona.
this, the longest day of the year. And now, it is my great honor to introduce to you the ruler of our
Oops.
land, the very pony who gives us the sun and the moon each and every day, the good, the wise, the bringer of harmony to all of Equestria,
Ready?
Princess Celestia!
And no joke.
This can't be good.
Remain calm, every pony. There must be a reasonable explanation.
Oh, I love guessing games. Is she hiding? She's gone. Ooh, she's good. Oh no. Nightmare Moon.
I have to admit, when I first saw this, I was like, that was a cool effect.
Oh, my beloved subjects.
You notice
It's
the,
been so long
shimmering
since I've seen
aura?
your precious little sun-loving faces.
What did you do with
Cutie
our
Mark
princess?
Crusaders before they were Cutie Mark
Oh,
Crusaders.
Nelly.
Applejack's done that to Rainbow Dash so many
Am I not
times.
royal enough for you?
That must be
Don't you
painful.
know who I am?
Ooh, more guessing games. Hokey Smokes. How about Queen Meanie? No,
Queen Meanie.
Black Snooty.
Black Beauty?
Does my crown no longer count now that I have been imprisoned for 1,000 years? Did you not recall the legend? Did you not see the signs?
I did, and I know who you are. You're the Mare in the Moon, Nightmare Moon.
Well, well, well. some pony who remembers.
Somebody's done her homework.
And you also know why I'm here.
You're here to...
Remember this day, my ponies, for it was your last. From this moment forth, the night will last forever.
And that will begin to shine? What? Dun dun dun. Hasbro. Okay, well, very first episode, season 1. My take on it. I have to say I really enjoyed this enough so that it got me to, well, obviously, very first episode there was a cliffhanger, so I wanted to say, okay, well, let me see what happens next. Very good to start off the show with a cliffhanger right off the bat. I like the mythology part of it. The art style was decent. I'm not the type that more is better, where even like in comics, the flashier the art style, yeah, it looks visually stunning, but I'd rather have deep, meaningful content and good storytelling than a renderific kind of a showcase. Don't get me wrong, like you have like the epitome of special effects, like in Marvel movies, like, oh, that's fantastic, and stuff like Avatar where you have really cool visual effects, but the storyline's decent enough to carry on its own. But then you have things like Zathura, where the visuals are awesome, and the premise, the storyline had promise, but the acting and the direction was just subpar. I'm going to go into other movies later on, but that's just an example of how visual effects don't always carry a show. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with this. I'm just kind of giving different templates of how, because obviously this isn't like ultra realistic effects, and it's not meant to be, and it's perfectly fine with that. Although I wonder how it would look if you took it to like the next level. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about making it look as close to real life as possible. And I think a lot of people would be dismissed about that, and I can understand that, because ponies would look more realistic like ponies, unless you did the thing where, like, I made a video with like the different memes and how they made memes that look realistic. If you were to take how they're drawn here and make it the realism part but keep the same format, that would be interesting. I'd like to see that. And if this gets circulation and more fans jump in the video, if anybody wants to post a picture with that, I would love to see it. And in fact, if you do a good job, I will, and the picture looks fantastic, I'll sponsor you and show you and actually make a video saying, hey, this is so-and-so did this artwork, support them, blah, blah, and just talk about the details. Needless to say, when I've watched this episode, I was like, okay, this is not just rainbows and cupcakes. Well, that's later on. But it's more involved, more in-depth storyline, captivating characters right off the bat. I mean, the interesting thing about the main 6 is everyone can relate to somebody. If you're really into sports, Rainbow Dash is your girl. If you're, a hard worker, farmer type, object. I mean, you get even if, like, the shy, quiet type can relate to Fluttershy, especially with her transition throughout the show, or the quote-unquote nerdy bookworm that just studies and doesn't socialize. I mean, they're not socially awkward, they just don't bother. I mean, it captivates you because you can relate to somebody, and everybody has their favorite. Everybody has a particular type that they like, so it draws on a big audience, and that was good. And I could see them focusing on I can't even say this is a kid's show because there's a lot of nuances and influences that this show has that younger ones won't even understand, because there's cultural references and social references that unless you experience them, you won't know you won't quote, get it, you won't understand it. I mean, you can enjoy it, you're like, oh, that's funny, but when you see it, and I think that draws back to our things. As you watch the show and as you get older, and I've seen more and more of this happening where here, let me just move this out so you don't see this black box here. No, don't want to reset it, just move it. Okay. Where you could watch a show, and then 5-10 years down the road you could watch it again and it has another meaning. And as you get older, and I see more and more of this, especially with animated series, not just cartoons, but Japanese anime, Korean animated products, where they're trying to make an in-depth story that appeals not only to a certain generation, but can appeal to multiple generations at different parts of their life. Storylines that they can get that they may not understand now, but further down the road when they watch it a few times later on, they'll have a deeper meaning. Some are meme related, some are social relevance, some are a political relevance, some tie into situations where you have to think about it. Now, obviously this show has tempered it a lot for a broader audience, but also very softly, and that's actually a good thing, because if you try to hit too hard, then you run into like certain animated series where they get into some really deep, controversial or social issues that are kind of rough for younger audiences. So they want to appeal to a broad audience, but they still want to keep that level of innocence, which is good, because that's what the show is geared towards. If you suddenly threw these really hard-edged, controversial subjects right off the bat, it's going to throw a lot of people off, including the older viewers, because they're watching this for the innocence. They like the show's gentleness, softness, and innocence. They enjoy it. They want to go back to it. They want to live in the moment of like, wow, I don't have to be thinking these crazy thoughts because the show's not going that way. And I like that about it, and I think a lot of the older fans like it as well. There's too much inundation of harder subjects between the news and between other more deeper serious shows, that the saturation has reached its pinnacle of well, as some of you may know, the law of diminishing returns. After a while, it's just not enjoyable anymore, and the harder edge stuff has flooded the market to the point where people are like, okay, enough, I need something to go back to. And a show like this appeals to so many people on so many levels, because it strips away all that hard edge stuff and just goes to a simpler time, a softer time, and more of a for kids, they can watch it anew. For older people, they watch it as a retro back to when they were a kid. They go back to they revert back to when their younger times where things were a lot more innocent. And some of the other older fans it'd be more of like a nostalgic throwback to those times. They may not necessarily experience it and relive it, but they appreciate it. But they can still enjoy it as well for the more recent social context. So there's multiple layers in this. And I think that's why the show is done very well. And I will include like Transformers in that. And a lot of people ask me like, why has Transformers and My Little Pony succeeded, but G.I. Joe failed? I feel this needs like a different video, a different topic, but there is a particular reason I actually found the answer to that. And it's not because it's based in the military. It has nothing to do with it. It could be about anything. It's just the way the show reaches its audience is different. A different style, different format of writing. But I will connect to part 2 in a moment. To you, it's going to be immediate for me, it's going to be, I don't know, but you don't have to worry about that. So I will set that up and I'll connect videos and see you guys soon. Thank you, rock stars. See you in a moment. Hello, how is everybody doing? I'm back. Different t-shirts, you can tell, different day. But I'm going to continue on where I left off with the second part of the first episode, and my thoughts, reflections, etc. Let's get to it.
Elements of harmony. See Mare and the Moon?
But that's just an old pony's tale.
She will bring about nighttime eternal. It's imperative that the princess is told right away. I knew she would want to take immediate action.
My dear Twilight, there is more to a young pony's life than studying. Make some friends.
All the
Your
ponies in
recap.
this town are crazy. I hope the princess was right.
She's gone.
Oh no, Nightmare Moon.
Oh no!
Seize her! Only she knows where the princess is!
Seize her!
Back, you fools.
Sounds almost like Caesar. Why do that? I just test my mic.
Nighttime? Forever?
Where's she going? We gotta stop.
Don't mind me, I'm just going to move things around just a little bit, just so I can look
You've been up all
at the screen a little bit easier.
You are a baby dragon after all. Elements, elements, elements. Ugh! How can I stop Nightmare Moon without the elements of harmony? And just what are the elements of harmony? And how did you know about Nightmare Moon, huh? Are you a spy? Whoa!
Simmer down, Sally. She ain't no spy, but she sure knows what's going on, don't you, Twilight?
By the way, if my
I read all about
YouTube
the
gets a little more traction,
some mysterious objects
this
called
picture?
elements of harmony are the only things that can stop her.
I'll tell you what, if I get
Where to find them?
over,
I don't know what they do. The elements
this is a big deal, over 5,000 subscribers, I'll show you what this picture is. It's not anything that you're ever going to see, that you've ever seen before. I can guarantee you that.
There are 6
Guarantee you
but
that.
only 5 are known. Kindness,
Unless you know of a
laughter,
particular
generosity,
artist
honesty,
in a
and
particular
loyalty.
location.
The 6th is a complete mystery. It is said the last known location of the 5 elements was in the
And you may
ancient
see
castle of
things
the
appear and
royal
disappear in my
ponies.
background. So keep a sharp eye. Right now you won't, but as I start doing more videos,
Evergreen Forest.
Evergreen Forest.
Whee! Let's go! Not so fast. Look, I appreciate the offer, but I'd really rather do this on my own.
No can do, Sugar Cube. We sure ain't letting any friend of ours go into that creepy place alone. We're sticking to you like caramel on a candy apple.
Sign of a good friend when you
Especially if there's
aren't allowed to
baby
go to
apples in there.
creepy forest alone.
Those things are good.
And frankly, if I was going to forest, I'd like to go with friends too. It's more fun that way.
Heavens no! Just look at it. It's dreadful. And it ain't natural. Folks say it don't work the same as Equestria. What's that supposed to mean? No pony knows. You know why? Rainbow quit it. 'Cause every pony who's ever come in has never come out.
Oops.
Fluttershy, quick! Oh my goodness, oh my goodness! Ah!
Oh, oh.
Hold on!
Pretty risky of Applejack to do that.
What do I do? Let go. Are you crazy? No, I ain't. I promise you'll be safe.
I'm plumb crazy, but let go
Listen
anyways.
here. What I'm saying to you is the honest truth. Let go, and you'll be safe.
Aw.
Phew. Ah! Sorry, girls.
Does that mean that
This
Twilight's
wasn't anything more than a
heavier than the
bite or
others?
two.
Whoosh.
around and wham! Caught you right in the nick of time. Yes, Rainbow, I was there. And I'm very grateful. But we got a Manticore!
They just happen to be lying around.
Gotta get past him. Take that, you ruffian!
One thing I always noticed, Rarity is hard to scare.
Wait.
I mean, I've been noticing that throughout the whole series. I mean, she yelps and she does her thing, but she's actually pretty
All
brave.
yours, partner. I'm running.
Like Applejack said while in flight. Like, yep, all yours.
Rainbow! It's okay. Oh, you poor, poor little baby. Little? No, this might hurt for just a second. Fluttershy!
Aw.
Oh, you're just
I'm surprised there haven't been more PMVs of that. Or
You are. How did you know about the thorns? I didn't. Sometimes we all just need to be shown a little kindness.
Ugh, my eyes need a rest from all this icky muck. Well, I didn't mean that literally.
That ancient ruin could be right in front of our faces and we wouldn't even know it.
I didn't see you. It's my apologies. Right here. Oh, wait. I think I stepped in something. It's just mud.
no, I don't get that. Fluttershy did not get scared of a Manticore, and Rarity didn't really get scared until like it actually started threatening her. But trees? They're not moving. And I know it's established Pinky's character, but it just seems kind of...
Girls, don't you see? When I was a little filly and the sun was going down. Tell me she's not. The darkness and the shadows, they would
Yep.
always make me frown. She is.
Establishing the whole fourth wall thing.
From what I thought I saw, but Grandpa said that wasn't the way to deal
I know there's a whole Pinky Deadpool fourth wall contest, but I would like to see a more established kind of thing like that.
You'll see that they can hurt you, just laugh to make them disappear. Ha ha ha. So giggle at the ghostly, guffaw at the grossly, crack up at the creepy, whoop it up with the weepy, chortle at the kooky, snortle at the spooky. Tell that victim scary face to take a hike and leave you alone, and if he thinks he can scare you, then he's got another thing coming, and the very idea of such a thing just makes him wanna
Chomp. Oh, there's something to say about laughter being contagious.
How are we gonna cross this?
What a world! What a world!
Excuse me, sir. Why are you crying?
Well, I don't know. I was just sitting here. My
Absolutely
eyes open.
fabulous.
This tacky little cloud of purple smoke just whisked past me and tore half of my beloved mustache clean off. And now I look simply horrid. Oh!
Oh, give me a break.
Rarity's face.
That's what all the fuss is about? Why, of course it is! How can you be so insensitive? Oh, just look at him.
And suddenly the hair's all back together.
Scales.
I know.
Magic.
Expertly coiffed mane.
Oh, I know.
Your
I wonder how many people actually looked up coiffure when they saw this episode.
Oh,
You're like, well, let me see if that. Oh, okay.
It's true, I'm hideous.
I simply cannot let such a crime against fabulosity go uncorrected.
Ow! What did you do that for?
Rarity, what are you...
Oh!
It sounds so violent. Maybe did she like tie it together or?
How wonderful!
You look
I was
smashed.
wondering about that.
Oh, Rarity, your beautiful tail. Oh, it's fine, my dear. Short tails are in this season.
Now let's see if he
Besides,
stays short for the rest of the episode.
So with the mustache. We can cross now. Let's go.
Allow me.
Yeah, why walk when you can hop? All right, let's see. Truth.
There it
Let's see your tail.
The ruin that holds the elements of harmony. We made it. Twilight, wait for us.
Can't tell yet.
We're almost there.
Twilight.
What's with you and falling off cliffs today? Now what? Duh. Oh yeah. Who's there? I ain't scared of you. Show yourself.
We've been
Bravest of them all.
awaiting the arrival of the best flyer in Equestria.
Some people wonder, like, well, why didn't Fluttershy do it? Well,
You, of course.
she could have, but she wouldn't have been tempted with this, so this was her trial.
You wouldn't mind telling the Wonderbolts that, would ya? Because I've been trying to get into that group for, like, ever.
No.
For like Eva.
We want you to join us, the Shadow Bolts. We're the greatest
Shadow
aerial
Bolt.
team in the Everfree Forest, and soon we will be the greatest in all Equestria. But first, we need a captain. The most magnificent,
Yep.
swiftest,
Yes.
bravest flyer in all the land.
Yes. It's all true.
We need you.
Woohoo! Sign me up. Just let me tie this bridge real quick, and then we have a deal.
No! It's them or us.
Rainbow! What's taking so long? Oh no. Rainbow! Jump!
It's actually kind of smart to do that.
Well,
You. Thank you for the offer, I mean. But I'm afraid I have to say no.
There begs a question on this episode, like, did she actually create life, or was that just like a shadow clone kind of thing?
See?
And also, why would Rainbow Dash be tempted by a group called the Shadow Bolts, which, until that moment, no one's ever heard of? I mean, she knows the Wonder Bolts. Shadow Bolts like, who are you? You claim to be the fastest, but I've never heard of you, kind of thing. I also like the stones here. They look ancient. I mean, cobwebs aside, you know, it looks like an old relic, an old statue.
The book said, when the five are present, a spark will cause the sixth element to be revealed.
Spark.
What in the hay is that supposed to mean? I'm not sure, but I have an idea. Stand back. I don't know what will happen.
So I'm going to go try it. I'm going to put my face right into it and try it. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it right in front of it.
Twilight! The elements! Where did she go?
Now, I wonder, where did she actually go? That's what I was curious about.
Twilight, where are you? Look!
Okay, that's where she went.
you're kidding. You're kidding, right?
Nope. So anyway, she was.
Just one spark. Come on, come on.
No! No!
But where's the sixth element?
You little fool! Thinking you could defeat me! Now you will never see your princess or your son. The night will last
You think you
The
can
spark.
destroy the elements of harmony?
See that in her eyes?
Just like
I just realized
Well,
that.
you're wrong.
That there was an actual
Spirits of
spark in her
elements of
eyes.
Harmony are right here. What? Applejack, who reassured me when I was in doubt, represents the spirit of honesty. Fluttershy, who tamed the manticore with her compassion, represents the spirit of kindness. Pinkie Pie, who banished fear by giggling in the face of danger, represents the spirit of laughter. Rarity, who calmed a sorrowful serpent with a meaningful gift, represents the spirit of generosity. And Rainbow Dash, who could not abandon her friends for her own heart's desire, represents the spirit of loyalty. The spirits of these 5 ponies got us through every challenge you threw at us.
You still don't have the sixth element. The spark didn't work.
But it did. A different kind of spark. I felt it the very moment I realized how happy I was to hear you, to see you, how much I cared about you. The spark ignited inside me when I realized that you all are my friends. You see, Nightmare Moon, when those elements are ignited by the spark that resides in the heart of us all, it creates the sixth element, the element of magic.
Magic. I like their smiles. They're like really happy. Power up.
My head.
Every pony okay?
Oh, thank goodness. Why, Rarity, it's so lovely.
I know. I'll never part with it again.
No, your necklace.
Oh, dang it. I forgot to see if her tail was shorter before. I wasn't paying attention.
Look at mine! Look at mine! Oh, yeah!
Gee, Twilight, I thought you were just spouting a lot of hooey, but I reckon...
Premonition about the whole princess.
Indeed you do.
I mean, it is a tiara.
Princess Celestia!
Twilight Sparkle, my faithful student. I knew you could do it.
But you told me it was all an old ponytail.
I told you that you needed to make some friends.
I told you what you needed to hear.
I saw the signs of Nightmare Moon's
Orpheus.
return, and I knew it was you who had the magic inside to defeat her. But you could not unleash it until you let true friendship into your heart. Now, if only another will as well. Princess Luna. It has been 1,000 years since I have seen you like this. Time to put our different...
It's interesting how she looks
We're meant to rule together, little sister.
different
Sister?
Will you accept
from this episode to all the other episodes. I mean, look at her drawing style compared to all the Lunas.
I'm so sorry. I missed you so much, big sister.
Even the voice is different. It's
I
almost
think
like...
so, too.
Well, I don't know the history, background of the voice actor, of the design of this, that they changed on purpose.
Hey! You know what
But I guess in lore, it could be that maybe because she just got freed from her nightmare capture, that took a while. You see, even here, she looks a little bit different. Maybe she's metamorphosing from like when she was younger to like her actual age, I guess. And it took a while for her to get reacclimated back into normal space-time. Just a guess.
My faithful student, are you not happy that your quest is complete and you can return?
And I still wonder about the whole flowing mane thing. Maybe it's just abundance of, no, it can't be abundance of magic. Maybe it's just age. Maybe it's a combination of age and wisdom.
Spike, take a note, please. I, Princess Celestia, hereby decree that the unicorn Twilight Sparkle shall take on a new mission for Equestria. She must continue to study the magic of friendship. She must report to me her findings.
Spike doesn't have any problems with those words.
Home in Ponyville.
Oh, thank you, Princess Celestia.
No,
I'll study harder than
I will say friends do make things a lot easier. I won't say it's magic per se. Maybe it is.
It's exciting. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I've never
Fourth
been so
wall.
excited. Well, except for the time that went. But I mean,
Okay. Recap on these episodes. This show,
that's just an old pony's tale. She will bring
when I first saw this show,
It's imperative.
I gave it a chance and I decided, okay, let me try the show. But while I was watching this two-part, I know for a fact that when I first watched the first part of it, it's like, okay, let me just see the second part, see how it turns out, because I was hooked. I was hooked in the story. And as they developed the characters, I thought, okay,
She's gone.
they really did a good job kind of encapsulating in the same way as like Twilight is always buried in her books. When you read, you don't socialize. When you're in your library, in your study, writing papers, you can be very smart, but you're not very sociable. It doesn't mean you're shy or not shy, like Fluttershy. That's where the difference comes in. You can be as sociable as you want and still be shy. It's difficult, but you can. Twilight just closed herself off from everybody until recently. She doesn't have a problem talking with people. She just prefer a book versus a person, or in this case, a pony. But I really like that. Not only does the show exemplify their personalities, their traits, and their characteristics, which in the first two episodes really shine, but also the antithesis of who they are, and the I won't say the temptations, but the automatic flaws that come with the personalities that they are. Like Fluttershy being shy does not mean that she can't be social, but that's the reason why she hangs out with animals so much. It's because of her shyness, kind of assists in her being with animals more than with being other ponies. She doesn't have to interact with animals the same way she has to interact with ponies, and it equates to her lifestyle being particular with what she likes. And throughout the whole series, with tea parties and such, I'm getting ahead of myself, I know, but you can see how her lifestyle and her interest also fits her personality. And her element, obviously her element is not shyness, but it's kindness, and being kind to animals kind of goes in hand with someone who may not interact with ponies per se, but is very gentle and caring in general. Rainbow Dash, because it's interesting, when you first see Rainbow Dash, you see her as being like outgoing, sociable, extroverted. To the extreme of borderline like cockiness, of being like, oh yeah, I'm better than everyone else kind of thing. But her element is loyalty. You could be as cocky as you want, but you could also be a jerk, or you can be very loyal. See, this personalities don't always equate synergistically with the elements. But with Rainbow Dash, she wants to be a team player. She wants to be a Wonderbolt, to be a team player, you have to be loyal to a team. And in this case, her very first team is the main six. Well, actually, technically, her very first team, I guess, would be the weather controller in Cloudsdale. But there's never been a temptation for her to stray from that. There's nothing that would... It wouldn't be like another job that she would take that, like, oh, instead of dealing with Cloud, she can deal with, I don't know, what would be equivalent to a competitor. Maybe well, no, it'd have to be something there. I mean, I can't really think of a good comparison right now. But there's no competition. She could be a Wonder Woman, she could work in Cloudsdale, she could be Team 6, and none of those would counteract. Now, there's been a couple episodes, which I won't spoil in case you haven't seen it, where that was challenged, that loyalship was challenged. The teamwork and loyalship tend to go hand in hand. And with someone who's very enthusiastic, like a sports enthusiast, very athletic, could understand the benefit of that. And it's just interesting how, like, for instance, Pinkie Pie is a very interesting one, because laughter doesn't always necessarily mean being happy, because you can laugh in the face of fear. You can still be fearful and be happy, or laugh, but not necessarily be happy. Or
sometimes we all just need to be shown.
I'll use another reference for those of you who may have watched My Hero Academia. All Might, when he smiles, he's actually very concerned, but he smiles as a symbol of peace for his people. And in kind of the same way, Pinkie Pie, her laughter is a symbol of joy, even if she may not necessarily be happy. And which is why that she's able to do so much, and is a perfect fit for her element. Because I noticed the elements are are enhancement to the personalities, but aren't in conjunction with the personalities of the main six. Which I won't spoil this either. Much later on, when you deal with there's other characters, and those that have seen the show know exactly what I'm talking about. The more recent ones, where their personalities and what they represent are different. If you look at the comparisons, that's what I'm saying. Overall, this show got me hooked, and I liked it. I like the drawing style, the music. When I first watched this and I saw him singing and stuff, I'm like, okay, is this going to be a musical? Is like every episode going to be musical? And it'd be fair. There's some that are and some aren't. But at first I thought, okay, this is going to be weird. But it wasn't weird. There's a lot of good music with this show. And I won't spoil that at all. And it's up to you for what your favorites are. I've seen enough videos from enough people to see that not everyone thinks the same thing. There are some general fan favorites, but everybody is unique in their own way. And that's been a very important lesson about this, and what the show really shows is that everybody's unique in their own way, yet everyone can still be friends. And I like that aspect of the show. Me being one that has had friends, lost friends, gotten new friends, moved around a lot. I've seen both sides of loneliness, of having friends, of good times, of bad times.
What a world! What a world!
And I can understand
Excuse me, sir. Why are you crying?
the focus of this is also the draw of the show to people who watch this. Because when you're watching this show, a lot of people can look at this as, okay, now I suddenly have 6 new friends in the characters of the show. And also because there's someone that they can relate to. I've watched a lot of YouTube commentators, reviewers, and analysis type of characteristics. I won't mention any particular names right yet, but I can tell by their personalities that they are similar to a particular character. Sometimes obviously so by choice, but it's easy to see personalities come out based on the type of character that they're favorite. Now, it's interesting to note that people's choice of their favorite character doesn't always necessarily mean that their personalities are like that character. For instance, you could be just like Rarity, you know, fashion conscious, always trying to look good and very generous of personality, but you may actually like Applejack, and Applejack could be your favorite character, and it could be because of her lifestyles, being like a southern gal, country farmer type, and it's something that draws. And now think about this: if you lived in the city your whole life, and you may have an appeal of something that's countrywide because it's different, it's new, it's exotic, as well as someone who's in the country all their life who's always dreamed of being in the big city kind of thing. Rarity could be someone that they like, oh wow, she's a personification of success, of fashion, of the go-getters, the people who are out there doing the thing kind of thing, and that's her personality type as well. She would fit in if you were jumping ahead a little bit with the Equestria Girls thing. If you were to take her and suddenly threw her, and I'll just say Manhattan, not Manhattan, but Manhattan, as a human, she would be able to acclimate very quickly to that personality. Whereas if you took Fluttershy or Applejack, turned her into a human, and threw her there, it would be a long time before they even get anywhere. But that's the whole point, that everyone's unique and everyone has different personalities, and it's just cool to see them all working together. I feel this show should be watched by more people. I know a lot of people watch the show, and I've seen the amount of views that certain YouTube videos get, so I can pretty much figure out how many people watch the show in general. I could probably give a rough ballpark, but generationally I think this is a good series because there's a lot to take in, a lot of things that you can enjoy, and you don't necessarily have to have a kid to watch it. I mean, I've heard of stories where it was just kids watching it, teens watching it, adults watch it, like parents with their kids watching it, or older people watching themselves. I mean, the various demographics. It's not just for one. And I think the reason why it reaches a larger audience versus something. I'm trying to think of something that'd be more. Okay, good example, animated series. You won't see that large of a demographic for, let's say, Rick and Morty versus My Little Pony. Obviously, some of the subject material in Rick and Morty is a lot different and a lot more harsh to watch versus My Little Pony. In My Little Pony, practically anybody can watch this. More importantly, anyone could feel comfortable watching this. I'm not saying people can't feel comfortable watching Rick and Morty, but you know going into Rick and Morty what the show's going to be about, and it's roughness, and it's, you wouldn't let everybody watch it. Don't get me wrong, the show is hilarious, but at the same time, I could see why some parents wouldn't let some kids watch it because of some of the graphic material that's involved in Rick and Morty. So it's a little more restrictive in that aspect of it. I'm not saying that anyone shouldn't do it. It's just that there's a restriction on some of the content of Rick and Morty that would prevent some people feeling comfortable letting others watch it. Whereas My Little Pony is a little more open in that sense because you don't really see as much graphic content in this. I mean, it's meant for kids, and being meant for kids, they're careful with presenting it in such a way where it's not gruesome or too objectionable or too intense in any theme. And I hope they keep it that way
Kidding, right?
for season 8 on, whatever. Because if they start throwing politics into it or controversial topics, I'll guarantee you this: if they start making it controversial in any way, game's over, show's over. And if anyone from Hasbro is watching this and has any pull, keep the show in its simplicity, in its gentleness, in its open audience. Don't try to be like everyone else and say, oh, let's make this cutting edge, let's make this hardcore, let's make this. You do that, you're gonna you might as well just throw your audience away. I should really do because there's plenty of shows that I'll use this quotation, jump the shark, when they try to be more edgy, different, darker, and all the executives that were banking on making real money off of this say, what happened with the show? I can give you concrete, detailed examples of every one of those scenarios where you lost millions of dollars because of your foolish mistakes and decided to change the show. And I could give you actual examples. But I'm just a guy on the camera. I'm just some guy. And they have people that are paid tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to give them recommendation on how to make the show better. And I've seen 7 out of 10 of the most popular shows in the past 15 to 20 years. The most popular shows on TV, in movies, and in animation fail because of those recommendations. I won't say that someone has to get fired, but maybe you should contact me and I could give you advice. Because I can give you shows example of shows that have been successful and that have failed, and exactly why. More so that I can even give you shows that are out there now that I could see a point where the show's on the teetering edge of either being successful for another few years or jumping the shark or going downhill. I don't see that happen with My Little Pony yet. Though I will say this, next gen, yes,
When those elements are ignited by the
many people won't say this. I personally, I'll refrain from saying anything concrete right now, but you're talking about on the fence, teetering edge of possibility of going downhill. I'll just say this, the next generation could be that. Just saying. Why mess with what's good? I'm not going to stand if you feel it's going dull. It can go either way. I'm not going to say it's going to fail. I'm not going to say it's going to be a flop because I don't want to be negative. But at the same time, it's teetering right now because of that decision. If you were, I would say if you didn't make a decision, if you were to ask me how many more seasons could this show last without it starting going downhill or dull,
Oh, thank goodness.
to be honest,
Why, Mary, it's so lovely.
I would say
I'll never part with it again.
2 to 3 more seasons. I'd say between season 10 and season 11. For where if you were just working on the main 6, that's why I say just the main 6. If you were to do other things, which I won't get into because it could be potential spoilers, it could last a lot longer and it could bridge into other spin-offs or other side series. But even then, that's a little dangerous. What would you do? What would I do afterwards? Well, let me say this. You have to ask me. I have a perfect idea of what you could do. That could be another good 5 or 6 seasons. But, again, that's rambling on. So for now, I'll bid you adieu. I hope you enjoyed my commentary. And please support Hasbro.
It was all an old ponytail.
They make a great show.
That you needed to make some
And I hope they continue to make great shows. And I will start doing more. And if you like my commentary, please subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment. And I will try to do as many episodes as I can. And if more and more people start watching this, I may continue on. I'll do at least, let's say, maybe 5 episodes to see if it's interesting and draws traction. If not, I mean, I'll be doing other things. So we'll see how it goes. Rack stars. Catch you guys later, and thank you for watching.